peekaboo. It's your favorite Scorpio reporting for duty. I may not be your favorite Scorpio, but in my mind I can pretend, because Pisces is the dreamy energy of make-believe. And it's all about the Pisces right now. How are you guys doing? So, I have never been one to pay much attention to astrology. But I gotta say, in the last year, as I start to really feel things, and then I make the connection later, about a year ago, I started occasionally watching an energy report. I think it was Lee Harris or somebody that has a buttload of followers. And the thing that was so interesting to me was he was saying the exact same things I was writing about, and he was getting those things because he studies astrology, right? But I wasn't studying astrology. Those things were just coming to me. I just read the energy. Oh, BTW, I went into my other app and set it permanently as public, so we'll see how long that lasts this time. It's become a game called How Long Can This Video Stay Public? But anyway, my realization was that the energy that the cosmic energy that I'm feeling and the things that I am connected to don't all come from astrology, but many of those things do. So I stopped watching energy reports because I didn't want to cloud my information with other people's information. But that's something that I noticed a lot in the last year was happening. I was talking about things not knowing the cosmological end of it and pulling in the same energy and the same information anyway. When I made the full moon in Libra video, I did not know that there was a conjunction that had not happened in 166 years. So this is a very rare 166 year conjunction. And the reason it takes so long is because Neptune is incredibly slow, apparently. So this video is going to be about the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, the card read that I pulled, and how the energy is affecting the divine masculine, the energy of this conjunction. That's what I pulled the card read on as well. Now, just because I'm talking divine masculine doesn't mean that that doesn't have anything to do with you if you're the divine feminine or a feminine person watching this video. As you know, we are all masculine and feminine energy combined anyway. So, when I get to the card reading, as they always say, take it as it resonates, because though I'm talking about the divine masculine energy, we all have energy in us that is divine masculine. So parts of this will refer to the divine masculine in your life, and parts of it will refer to the divine masculine within yourself. So, Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in the sign of Pisces. I've been talking a little bit about Pisces in the last couple videos. Pisces is a very dreamy, very creative, very expansive energy. But this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in the sign of Pisces, as I said, the first time in 166 years. So this is something that doesn't even happen in every person's lifetime. Pisces is an energy of creativity, spirituality, and all things creativity. This is a water sign, and as a water sign, Pisces is no stranger to the emotional depths of the abyss. You might know this if you have Pisces friends, or maybe you just have a lot of Piscean energy in your chart as well. So Pisces is creative expansion and spiritual reset, getting into the connection of the depth of your own emotion, the depth of your creativity. And this really talks about us expanding from the point of allowing and inviting the energy of creativity to be more prevalent in your life. And this conjunction is really going to pull that to the forefront for you and for all of us. It's expanding our energy and the energy of the entire collective past any self-limiting belief systems. So this is a huge thing for us. If you think about what's going on with disclosure, and if you think about what's going on with all the solar activity, with all the people wanting to drastically change their lives, from every aspect of their life. And we've been talking about wanting and needing and feeling the urge to make massive changes in our lives for the past couple months. So this energy for us and for the entire collective is about expanding past our belief systems. And if the universe doesn't know exactly divinely, is not exactly divinely guided, I don't know what is, because there could, in my mind, be no better time than right now to have expanded consciousness happening at the same time, where we have this conjunction that is really pushing and pulling everyone on the planet as a collective conscious to expand past any limiting belief system. And that's all limiting belief systems. So that will amp up what's going on around disclosure. Excuse me. That will heighten the expansion that's going around disclosure, around the fact that people are studying and realizing things on that fourth dimensional bridge that maybe they weren't exposed to or didn't realize this was happening, because this 160-year conjunction is happening when the earth as a whole, as the consciousness as a whole, is expanding and waking from its slumber at last. So Jupiter takes about 12 years to go around the sun. So it spends approximately a year in each sign. However, Neptune spends about 14 years in each sign, so it takes 165 years for Neptune to have its 14 years in each cycle before it comes into this conjunction with Jupiter. This won't happen again until 2188. So use this conjunction very, very wisely. Now, what this conjunction is at its base energy, and you can look into it more or just meditate on it. It's probably going to be a better way for you to tap into how, why, and what in your life needs expansion or more creativity, or what in your life needs to push past your pre-existing limiting belief systems in general. So these two being together spark massive creativity within all of us, meaning new ideas, new endeavors, a business plan that you've been wanting to do for a really long time, anything creatively that you've had in your headspace or on paper or maybe in your computer that you've wanted to do is going to push and pull its way to the forefront of your life. Things you've always wanted to do will be pulled into alignment and take center stage for you. Now, this is the energy, and energy pulls on us very, very heavily. Of course, that means we do have to take steps and create the things that we want to create in our life. But this is a time that only happens every 166 years. It is the highest manifestation time available on the planet. Now, this started on the 12th, which I'm pretty sure was yesterday, but don't hold me to that. So highest time for manifestation. I think you guys are all already working on that. You know how to do that. If not, that's something that you can check into. So We have an urge, we have a real pull to be creative, to start new projects, new endeavors, new relationships, whatever sparks our creativity and whatever sparks our mission, our reason for coming here as well. Also, these two being together is the biggest pull on your intuition of any conjunction you will ever experience on this planet. So while you're feeling the need to make directional changes in your passion and your creativity, you're also going to be getting more intuitive hits and have more intuition, and also more things rising up from the subconscious and even the unconscious to your conscious about what it is that you wish to create, and maybe what it is even that you came here to create as well. The theme has been, I've noticed most recently, is letting go of the power to control or manipulate your own life. And I can attest to how difficult that's been, because I haven't worked any kind of actual 3D job in about 17 months now. And trusting your intuition and waking up every single day and going on nothing but what makes your heart sing and what your intuition is telling you to do hour by hour. It can be a very, very scary leap. If any of you have dove in, I can't talk. If you have taken a deep dive into that direction, you know that trusting yourself can be hard. Trusting that I can provide for myself, trusting that everything's going to go okay, trusting that my intuition is accurate, that my intuition can guide me, put me on the path. And that's why I'm such an advocate for being in the moment of now and changing by the hour. There are things that I do every single day to take care of myself, but there is no structure to what time of day those things happen, other than the fact that coffee is the first and only stop for me every morning. In fact, I usually turn the coffee pot on 2 hours before I wake up. But other than that, there is a plan, there is a direction, but but everything about it is free flow. So my life is basically like a night at the Improv, but it happens every single day. And this is how I've been running my life for 17 months. And sometimes I am truly, truly amazed at the things that happen and show up. Because we're being asked to let go of control, and because this energy is so entirely dreamy and these waves of creation are coming back, there are a lot of things bleeding through that just seem very surreal, very dreamy. And while I am, you are, we are multidimensional beings at this point, we still have to differentiate between the third dimension and anything else above that. But to give you an idea how dreamy this energy feels for me, right? It's not like I don't know the difference between what is in my physical reality and what is a dream. It's not that I don't have that grasp, but the creative spark and the ability to dream within me is so big right now that it's almost overriding everything else, if that makes sense. So I'll give you an example, because I think sometimes my crazy examples might help someone. And if I've helped one person, well, I guess I've done my job. I woke up the other morning super, super early, 3:33 a.m., and I decided to turn the coffee pot on. I went back and laid down, fell back asleep. What woke me up was the sound of my phone ringing. Now, even while I was sleeping, I knew that my phone wasn't really ringing, because my phone is on airplane mode until at least a half an hour every morning after I wake up. So I had just woken up, so it was between dream state and this reality, and I heard my phone ringing, and I answered it, and I said hi, and the other person said hi, And they said, "How are you?" And I said, "I'm just really, really happy to hear the sound of your voice. How are you?" And they said, "I'm good. I called you because I'm wondering if you would just sit with me, if you would just sit here with me, if you would just bring your energy into my field and I could sit with your energy, or we could sit in the energy of each other." And I said, "Yes, I would love to do that." Um, and they said, "Okay, great." And that was it. Now, this conversation was so incredibly surreal. I would have sworn this actually happened, but like I said, I am in the third dimension and I do know the difference between that creative spark or that imagination or whatever, or maybe someone was trying to get a hold of me. I don't know. But someone called me, didn't call me, on my phone to ask me to sit in their energy field so that we could exchange energy. It was really awesome. And then I got up and I was like, what the heck? So, part of the creative spark and part of the creative process for us is letting go of our need to control. When we try to control, then we really put a damper on our creative spark and our passionate direction. So it doesn't matter how much time we spend in whatever reality that makes us feel good, whatever reality gives us a spark and a passionate direction for where we plan on moving to, because it does really help us with what we're being asked to do right now, which is surrendering to control. Because honestly, I could sit here and worry about 100 things, and I'm sure that you could too. But worry is nothing but a misuse of our own imagination. We don't create anything with worry, but more worry and more self-doubt. Anything and everything that is meant for you will happen for you. Whatever is your destiny, whatever you have chosen now, whatever you've chosen in the past that you align with, all these things are going to come into your reality by simply working on the magnetism of your own field. I made a video specifically about our soul contracts and how to magnetize your field. So you're not going to miss out on anything that you signed up for. You're not going to miss out on all these beautiful, beautiful creations that you want in your reality, because all you simply have to do is work on your electromagnetic field, and the people, places, and things that were meant for your life and your highest potential will be magnetized into your life. I think you guys get the gist of that without me having to say that. Of course, we have to give ourselves spark and momentum and take direction and make choices. But working on the magnetic field of your body is the number one way to attract your destiny. Our every word is so important, because our every word, our every thought, and our every choice right now in this very moment is making an instant branch into your personal timeline. So your every word, your every thought, and your every choice is instantly branching out and creating your personal timeline in this very moment of now. There's not any structure in higher reality, so we have to create that as it goes, right? I could go back to the pretend phone conversation that was very beautiful, that I know that I did not physically have in this third dimension or on this plane. But I can use that and spark that to write or paint or whatever I want to do. So that higher dimensional energy is very conductive for our creative spark. You know, when we tell ourselves, oh, that's just my imagination. Well, your future is your imagination. Your imagination is what's creating your future. Your imagination is what is branching out. By your specific choices, say yes or no. Like, that is my imagination. That's not really real. Oh, you just stopped the creative power within that thought. Instead of saying, oh, that's my imagination, I really like that, therefore I'm going to take the steps in the third dimensional reality to create that person, place, or thing, and make that a part of my reality. So, one of the other things that I keep seeing, and I know I sound like an absolute lunatic, but it's my creative spark, and to me, that's the only thing I care about. I don't care about how I really don't have a third dimensional care about how I look or how I sound or how I present myself anymore, in case you haven't figured that out in the last several videos. I've been seeing red roses in my mind for the past week. So I don't know if that's some sort of, I'm picking up on someone's favorite flower. Someone is thinking about red roses when they see me, or there's a collective energy of love in bloom. I mean, it can be all kinds of things. So I encourage taking your own imagination and running with that, whichever way you can. But I know I see lots of things that pop in and out for a couple seconds, but this image of red roses has been with me for the past week, to the point that I actually went up to the front of the house where all deliveries are made, just to make sure there were not any red roses there, because if there were, they wouldn't last very long in my neighborhood. So I thought I would check on the off chance that I manifested that lickety split, like just by seeing it. So I'm going to do a card pull, and as I do that, I will go back and tell you once again that when I speak about masculine, I speak about masculine energy that's present in every single one of us. But I will also tell you at the same time, I could be a female, but in divine masculine energy or balanced energy, or vice versa. So I'll ask you to take how this message resonates. But do know this: when I pulled the reading, my specific question was, how will this actual conjunction of Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces affect the divine masculine collective? Okay, so here's what I got. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I feel the need to change things when I want to change them, and go 100% by my intuition and my very loose script that I have. So the question was, how will the masculine energy of the planet interact, react, and take a deep dive into the emotional bliss that is the artistic expression of Pisces with the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction? The first card out on the table was the card in the deck that itself represents the divine masculine, and that is the Emperor card. So an emperor not completely in full balance will be an emperor that says, I'm going to do my life this way. This has worked for 30 years or 50 years or however long it's been for you. So the energy of the masculine in the third dimension is very about being protective, being loyal, doing things, following things that work, having structure. But in a third and higher dimensional frequency of the divine masculine emperor, he is in his divine masculine power to know exactly what it is that he wants, to make a plan and go after that plan within physical reality. When I ask, what is the energy here that is inspiring him or motivating him to step out of the normal rigidity of the emperor and become the higher frequency of the emperor, the answer I got is the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups talks about new beginnings. It talks about love, but also more importantly than, it's not just an energy of love, it's an energy of going in a direction, making a new offer that is energetically very going with the flow, very emotional. Now, the divine masculine doesn't have the tendency to be in a very emotional energy. But that's the energy that came up when I asked why he was shifting to a higher frequency perception. It was the Ace of Cups. There's something that he wants to offer, not just offer to me or to you or to someone outside of himself, but at the root base of it, he wants to offer it because it's what he wants to offer to himself. It's the energy that he wants to be in. And this cup, the Ace of Cups in this deck, has water coming out the side. So emotionally taking that deep dive into Pisces with this conjunction is allowing the emotional flow to really come out in a way that maybe wasn't expressed by him, or maybe he wasn't in touch with previously. Now, what the Emperor wants to do, or his new direction, his new goal, is the Fool. The Fool is the 0 card. So we're talking 0 point. We're talking starting all over, and maybe not with a whole lot of things, but maybe just a few important things that really mean the world to him. It's not about collecting material possessions or renting an enterprise truck, to move across the country. It's really the energy of, I know what I minimally need to make myself happy, and that is to start over with the minimal requirements that it is for my own happiness. Now, when I asked what is the energy that is fueling the Fool wanting to start over in his life, I get the King of Cups. The King of Cups is someone that's worked his way through all the cups in the deck up to the King, where he now has 2 cups. One that he holds for himself and one that he gives away to someone else. He's not really concerned with material possessions. So maybe this Fool, this person that wants to start over, has been in another energy previously, maybe the King of Pentacles energy, maybe the King of Wands energy, that's a little bit more egotistical, or the King of Pentacles that's a little bit more concerned with his financial gains, or stocks, or bonds, or commodities, or protecting what it is he's worked so hard for. But he knows in starting over that he will need to transition himself into being the King of Cups. So being emotionally open, being emotionally available, being emotionally vulnerable, and offering what it is he wants to offer, so that he can for himself start over with what direction he feels in his heart that he wants, because the King of Cups is about taking the direction of our heart. So after the Fool, we have the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is the hardest, heaviest card of burden in the entire deck. And why is this Emperor, who wants to take new direction and start all over, being the Fool, in such a heavy, heavy energy of burden? The reason he's there is because his creativity, his passion, his direction, his mission, all of those things that wands represent are not in alignment with his actual dreams. So when you are not going in alignment, and it might be different if you're just not pursuing one part of your life that you want, but there's a broad spectrum masculine energy on this planet that has been doing things by the dictated outside world of all the things that are dictated by the outside world. So it becomes a really heavy burden for the masculine energy. And that's the masculine energy, like I said, within all of us. If we're not following our passion, our bliss, going in the direction we feel pulled to, going in the direction we feel called to, what is our mission? When we are out of alignment with all of those things, it becomes a super heavy burden. When I ask out of the energy of burden for him to transition, what is it that he really wants to do? He wants to get on his horse and be the knight in shining armor. He wants victory. And this is not, just about wanting to be with someone else or wanting to fulfill soul contracts. Because the love contract, as I said before, is about being in alignment with ourself and our creativity and all these things, because that other person is the mirrored expression of you and your passion and your creativity and your direction. So there's a real want in the heart space to get in alignment with the mission, with the passion, with the creativity in every single aspect of his life. So dropping that burden, letting those wands fall to the side of the horse so he can lose that weight and say, this is the direction, let's go in that direction. When I ask what the heavy burden was specifically about, as far as like the direction, the mission, not being in alignment with his dreams, what came up is the Five of Cups. That is the energy of hanging your head to the point and looking at the three cups that are on the ground. Maybe something happened that you regret. Maybe something you did something, or something happened to you or to in your life or to your personal relationship, where you feel this moment where like everything's gone, everything's lost. It's a deep, deep sorrow, and it's a really deep regret about not being there for that person that you want to be there for. That's because cups are all about emotional fulfillment, love, and relationships and partnerships across the board. Like the Ten of Wands is the heaviest card of burden in the entire deck, the Five of Cups is the heaviest sorrow, the heaviest emotional tearful energy of regret and lost, and all things are lost. Because this person has their head down in tears and is not looking at the water that flows right in front of them, they don't realize that there are two cups still standing upright behind them. And this means a lot of things. Sometimes when we're sad or when we're in sorrow, when we're in regret, we think that all is lost. But this card tells you in that deep moment that all is not lost. There are two cups standing right behind you. And all you have to do is just change your direction into what makes you happy, what fulfills you. Literally, he just has to turn around and see that those two cups are there. There's a big part in this mission and also in this divine love connection, being centered very much around forgiveness. If you realize how much, the triggering is to clear the field, and how much the trigger is for every emotional bond, which the cups represent, emotions, period. So emotional stuck energy in our body wanting to move into a different direction. But because this relationship template of divine love is based around forgiveness, inner peace, understanding, and divine compassion for what that other person has gone through, what they have to work through. And if you are one part of a divine partnership, you will very much not only recognize that in the other person, you'll recognize it in yourself. So I say, I know I do have a few divine masculines watching this, and hopefully this video will get around. I think it's really important, because when you're in the stance of looking at all is lost, know that if this is divine love partnership, that other person is not viewing that the same way you are. The other person is viewing it straight on, where they can see, yes, there's been disappointment, yes, there's been sorrow, but there also are two cups standing up beside you if you will just turn around. And when I asked what is fueling that sadness, I get the King of Swords. The King of Swords is the man who is the most intellectually clear, concise, articulate card in this entire tarot deck. The King of Swords is, I am a man who knows all, sees all, and I want to articulate that. So it feels like to me a lot of the sadness, regret, and remorse from the Five of Cups is coming from the fact that Divine Masculine feels something very, very intensely that he may have never spoken out loud to you, for sure. Maybe he's not speaking it out loud to himself. But yeah, the King of Swords, again, he knows all, he sees all, and he needs to speak that truth, because if not, that double-edged sword says, when you know a truth, you have to speak it no matter what direction it goes in, right? I make a video, and that's the biggest reason I have no desire to edit, because I know what comes out is meant to come out, even if I mince my words and fuck up my words sometimes, you know, my presence comes across angelic, sometimes I cuss, and I'm more of my Scorpio personality, but I think it's important for us to be real and articulate what it is we're feeling. The next card from the Sorrow and Regret, I ask, what is he going to do about this? And I get the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is someone that's spent a lot of time studying, so I'm going to go completely on intuition, and whatever comes out my mouth is what's going to come out my mouth. The Knight is someone who's been studying. It's also somebody that, because it's based around Pentacles, is based around manifestation, what we wish to create, what we wish to manifest, okay? He's the slowest knight in the deck, but the reason he is the slowest knight of the deck is that he's been studying. So I'm going to say for a big portion of you, there is this other person in the masculine energy that was maybe afraid of this connection, maybe ran from this connection, maybe disconnected from this connection, to take the time to sort things out in his own life, within his own 3D reality. He needed to get things under wraps, maybe take action, maybe make some kind of logistical plan for forward movement, because he is on a horse. And I really feel like there's a big part of the masculine consciousness who may have met you and not understood what they were feeling, why they couldn't stop thinking about you, whatever these things were. And so they turned that into study, like the King of Swords always does. Let me put my intellect to work here and study, what is this relationship? Does this mean something? Is there something to this? Or have I lost my absolute ever-loving mind? Now, when I ask why he has the balls now, why he is working in his 3D reality, in his 3D life, to logistically make a plan, to manifest something, to get on the horse and take forward movement. I said moment. Let me take a moment. The answer I get was the Wheel of Fortune. And so the reason for the study, the reason for the new direction, the reason for him to get on his horse is because there's a destiny out there waiting for him. And we don't have to be talking about a partnership or a marriage or whatever. We could be talking about a mission, quitting a job, whatever it is that individual masculine knows is their destiny. The reason they're studying, the reason they're planning, the reason they're getting all logistically up in their King of Swords head is because they have realized at its very deep soul level what their destiny is. The Wheel of Fortune also talks about the end of cycles. So it depending on the state of awareness in the Divine Masculine. I know there are not people watching my videos that don't have a huge expanded consciousness or huge awareness. Now, we're all on the same frequency, and when I say same frequency, I mean we're in the energy of being on the first wave of ascension, which means we have an expanded awareness about all things present, multidimensional on this planet right now. Now, within the first wave itself, we're not even all completely at the same state or stage of consciousness. Sometimes I have to tell myself, Tina, just chill out and slow the hell down, and your words will come out just fine. So, depending on where they are in that state of consciousness, at a bare minimum, they realize there's something that they are very destined for. They can feel it in their soul. They're being pulled towards it. That's the reason he got on the horse. On a multi-dimensional level, I'm guessing that the majority of the masculine within our particular soul wave of awareness have also realized that the wheel goes round and round. I've had many incarnations. I've learned many lessons. And once I've learned the lesson from something that is no longer bringing me joy, happiness, and fulfillment in my life, that means it's the end of the cycle. Because the Wheel of Fortune also means whatever needs to end, you have realized, oh wow, this is over for me. So when I ask what that Knight of Pentacles plans on doing when he gets on that horse and comes in, the answer was divine justice. Now, the Libra reading was all about divine justice. You can refer back to that if you're like supercharged and want the amped up version of this. But the Libra card here is all about being in balance. It's all about following your divine guidance and doing what is just in universal law. So that goes hand in hand with the end of karmic cycles and the realization of your destiny. So this speaks of him maybe calling, texting, messaging you with some kind of judicial news. It could be, and take it, like I said, as it resonates. Could be vice versa. You could have judicial news or some sort of court ruling or something that you want to share with this other person. You'll have to take the energy kind of back and forth depending on what your balance is. But when I asked about divine justice, essentially, in its bare essence, is about making right within your heart what is divinely, universally, karmically just here. It's not karmically just for you to stay in an unhappy job or an unhappy situation or whatever. So this can talk about ending legal contracts as well, where that's, a job, a marriage, whatever it is. You guys know what, you guys are adults, you know what contracts are, so I don't need to explain that to you. Now, when I ask what the movement is, where this is going, what he's going to do with that, that news he's coming in with, it's the Chariot. So the Chariot is about being in our divine, balanced masculine and feminine energy so that we can steer our life, our entire path, and our destiny onto the course that is balanced, that feels right to us. What feels right to me won't feel right for you and for other people. But this Chariot card is us taking the reins of our own life, taking the reins of what is divinely just, taking the reins of what is our destiny, and steering ourselves into that destiny. Now, some of the really cool things that I thought I would share with you, and asking specifically about the conjunction affecting the divine masculine energy, there is one single card. Okay, so I pulled 12 cards, and 9 of those cards are males. So there's only 3 cards on the entire table here that do not have a picture of a man, that do not have that masculine energy riding on it. So that's 75% of this card pool is the masculine energy. Also, so Divine Justice is the only feminine card, and all the other cards have nobody. So there's the Divine Justice card is the divine feminine in the tarot, and there are no other people on this entire table. That also tells me 9 cards of masculine energy are coming towards the divine feminine for their destiny, their birthright, and what is divinely guided, divinely directed, and divinely just, maybe not in the outside world, but within their heart. And really, at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is what is in our heart. So we have 9 cards of masculine energy coming towards the last card on the table, which is the feminine energy, to make things right, to make things just, to make things balanced, to get in this Libra full moon energy, which is also playing on that. So if you haven't watched the Libra full moon energy reading, these are massive, massive, massive energy things. And I'm not a person, I'm talking about this because it's interesting how much and how much this energetic push and pull plays on our body. I never will say to you, like, this doesn't override anything. This doesn't override your intuition. This doesn't override what you want, what you need, what you desire in your life. As far as, tarot cards, of course, but I meant as far as looking at astrology. That doesn't override what's going on in our lives. But when you have a conjunction that only happens every 166 years, it's not happening again until 2188. I think that's really important. And I haven't done it yet. I'm going to, and you may be interested in doing it too, is why I bring it up, that it's a thing that happens so rarely. It would be very, very interesting to look at what happened in, I believe it was 1865. Do not hold me to my math on that. But let's, maybe look at what happened in this energy 166 years ago. I know for sure that Tesla was born on that day, okay, and that's about free energy too. So there's the divine masculine right there in his emperor energy. So I thought I would share those things because, like I said, it's not the overruling, overarching energy of your entire life, but our body very much plays back and forth with this energetic push and pull of the planetary alignments. The other thing that I noticed on this pool is almost half the cards on the table are major arcana. If you're not super familiar with the tarot, all the other cards are things that are minor or things that are temporary. So they're not, so it could be like simple changes, changes in your routine, simple things like that. When you're talking about a major arcana card, you're talking about a major, major, major change. So we have the Emperor, which is the major change, the divine masculine. We have the Fool, which is the major arcana, masculine change, starting all over, starting at zero, wanting to go in a completely different direction. We have Justice, which is the divine justice. I will rule in favor of universal law, of the direction of my heart. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is our destiny. We have the Chariot, which is taking forward movement to that destiny. So that's very interesting. And another thing that's very interesting is the fact that not only do we have almost half the card read being major arcana, which is major change, major life lessons, major end of cycles, 5 is all about the number of universal and personal change for all of us. So super interesting to me how that turned out. I love it. And you'll have to maybe swap the energies around, but I'm sure you guys, you have an expanded awareness of this stuff. I'm sure this is not your first, this is not your first rodeo. You've had like 2 million incarnations, okay? So most of you probably know tarot really well. I could just tell you what cards on the table, and then I don't even have to explain anything. So anyway. This is your temporary energetic update. I don't know how long the conjunction lasts, but I know with these conjunctions in the last year specifically that their energy, just like the portals and the gateways, is having a much longer lasting, much wider spread effect on our consciousness and to pull in our life's direction than they normally do. So I expect this energy of that conjunction to be around for a really long time. So ask yourself, what's my new direction? Where is my spark in life? Where is the spark in my heart? What do I want to do that's creative for me? And this is what I want to do. And this is why I'm here. And this is why I don't pay attention to, some of the 3D things, all of the 3D things around YouTube, I'll be honest. But we're being asked to look at where our creative spark is and what our direction is. And this conjunction, again, if you take nothing away from this conjunction is about hyper expansion of your intuition and hyper expansion of your creativity and your direction, and then mix in that little dreamy energy of the very watery, deep abyss, Pisces, and that's where you are. So it's the perfect time to manifest. Like I said, not only is it the perfect time, the height of manifestation in 166 years, it is also the perfect time to decide that you want to do something completely different, make a plan on paper, however it is you do that. It's such a heightened time of that creative spark and that creative energy, that all those beautiful things up in your head for the King of Swords, all just in my thoughts, right? It's a time for us, not only that we'll feel pulled to want to manifest those, but it's also a time, because of the intuition and because of the pull of the creative spark and the creative expansion, it'll be easier for us to create any kind of change or new direction in our job, in our mission. This is the chance of a lifetime. You could probably create something in a matter of days that would normally have taken you years. That's how expansive and deep this energy is to be creative. And those intuitive hits coming to you in such expanded connection will really amp up your ability to say, okay, I want to do this. And now all of a sudden I've got 5 pages of information on exactly what I want to do and how I want to sell the t-shirt along the way. Oh wait, that's my dream. I love you guys. And until next time, tip if you're watching, to be continued. Bye.